We have our rain of fireballs, but the way it is currently is that they fall across this entire base plate, right? Which means that if I'm standing here, then one can fall right on my head and I'll immediately die. Right? The way that I want to set this up is I want this spawn location area to be a safe zone, one where I don't need to worry about a bomb falling on my head. And I also want the other end of the base plate to be safe, this side here, because if you don't, what you'll notice is that when you get to the other end, the helicopter won't be there because the bombs would have destroyed it. Okay, and we don't want that to happen. So what do we need to do? Well, you want to go back and we need to remember how we're actually dropping the bombs onto the base plate. All right, we're doing it by creating a new, setting the position to a new vector, right, of the fireball clone. And we are setting the X position to be a random number from the X position of the end plate, which is the center of the plate, minus half of its size, so that takes you to here. And then we're also setting it to the center of the X plate plus half of the size, which is a random number from here to here, right? On the this is actually the Z-axis. And I know it's the Z-axis because we have this little axis tool here, right? The Z is sideways, the X is vertical in with respect to our base plate. So we're also doing the same thing for our X-axis. We're taking the center and then we're adding half of the size of the X. So the size of the X is the size of this base plate on the X-axis. So we're adding X. So we're doing a random number from here, and then we're taking the X position and we're subtracting half of the size on the X, so that takes us to here. So the bombs are going to appear in a random box, a random space that's describing this box or this area above the base plate. Okay, so we want to take the X-axis and we want to bring in one end, right? We want to bring in, so if this is X minus half of the length of X, it gets you to here. We want to add some studs. Okay, we want to add 20 studs. So if you look at this base plate, you'll see it's made up of these little divots. Each of those is a stud. I want to say this is about 20 possibly. And so I'm going to add 20 to the lower end, right? Here's the X position minus the size divided by 2. And here I'm going to add 20 studs. And let's play that and now see if our player is safe on the spawn location. Looks good, right? Maybe I went a little bit too far. No, that looks pretty good, right? And then now we want to protect the helicopter on the other end. And the helicopter on the other end, if you go and count, is about 30 studs, okay? But remember, when we're talking about the other end, we're doing X position plus half of the size. Gets us to the other end of the base plate, okay? So if we want to bring it in, we need to subtract 30 studs. Okay. At the bottom, we're subtracting, so we need to add 20 studs. If we're doing the other end, we need to subtract. So let's go over to the other end of the math.random, and here we are going to subtract 30 studs. And then let's play it and see if our helicopter survives the onslaught of the rain of fireballs. All right. So it looks like it looks like, oh, I can't really tell, but it sure does look like he's surviving. All right, so maybe we can set it up so the fireball script ends after a few seconds. So, I don't know how to set this up. Maybe we could set this up with 0.5 so we can actually see the helicopter being destroyed or not being destroyed on the other end. Yep, the helicopter's still there, right? Do you see it? I see it. So that looks good, and yeah, let's go ahead and stop this video and move on to the next one. Yeah, now I can't see it, but let's trust that it's there. Maybe I can jump off and I can see it over there. Yeah, I think I could still see him there. Wow, that's quite a minefield. Let's see if I can get through this. Okay, so anyways, I'm gonna assume my helicopter's still there on the other side. Or maybe I can try to get to the other side. Okay, let's go ahead and just assume